Thank you. This is why I love my team so much, because they always remember to do things that I forget, like hit record. So we are, as the girls come on screen to cook their dish, they're going to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them, and then we're going to work our way through the night. So first up, we have Jess, and I'm going to jump over to her and she can introduce herself and let you know what she's making tonight. And I will see you guys shortly.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess. I'm based in Canova, so a little bit separate to the rest of my team, but I'm in Western Victoria. I have been a Thermomix consultant since July. My consultant Erin, who is actually in this team, she will attest that I was never going to do this. This was not the plan. But I saw how much fun all the girls were having, and I've really enjoyed it since taking it on. So I tonight am making pizza bianca, and then I'm also making that into some pizza scrolls. So I'll just get started. Let's see, the Thermomix are right there. So I'll just go up here into my week, and I've got the recipe saved here already. So I'll click on start cooking, and it's got to preheat the oven to 220 degrees, which I've done that. Line a baking tray, and we get started. So it asks for 2 garlic cloves. So of course I can never just handle 2, so I'll put in a few more than that. And then it's asking for fresh rosemary. So I do have fresh rosemary in the garden, but if you don't, you could just use dried rosemary instead. So we'll just put the leaves in. So is anyone else making pizza at the moment, or have made this pizza bianca? Or are you buying pizza and finding it really expensive? All right, so let's pop the lid on there. And then we're just going to chop that up really fast. All right, so that was 4 seconds. And as you can see there, it's done a really good job. It's all nicely crushed up. So I'll just scrape down the sides. And we'll just do it again, just to get that a little bit finer. So just another 4 seconds. All right, so that's just a little bit finer there, as you can see. And I'll just pop that into a bowl and set it aside. All right, so now we're going to go on and make the pizza dough. So the best part about this recipe is that you notice it doesn't say to clean the bowl. We're just going to carry on because it's not going to matter if there's a bit of garlic or rosemary in the pizza dough. So we just need to put in 220 grams of water. So I'm just using the scales here to measure it in. 218, that'll be right. A teaspoon of raw sugar. So this is optional. You don't have to put the sugar in if you don't want to. However, it will help the yeast activate. 2 teaspoons of dry yeast. Pop that in. Put the lid on. And I was just going to do 2 minutes at 37 degrees. So I'm not sure if you've seen, if you made bread before or you're making doughs and you see that it asks for lukewarm water, it's actually 37 degrees is what you should have. So the beauty of this recipe is that it doesn't matter. You can use cold water out of the tap and you're actually going to warm it to the 37 degrees. The 37 degrees just helps the yeast activate and makes for the better dough consistency. So while this is going, I did a bit of costing on the actual dough recipe earlier, and it works out to be $1.04 to make, oh, sorry, I'll get my bit of paper. It works out to be $1.50 to make the dough. So this will make one large pizza, or in this case, the 2 garlic breads, or I'm actually going to use this dough recipe as well to make scrolls. So $1.50 worth just for the dough, in my opinion, is really a good cost saving.
We've had a couple of comments come through, Jess, about money saving. So Kate said she makes pizza all the time. It's so much quicker and easier. Belinda said that she's saving on grated cheese, chicken mince and bread, which are great ones to hear. Alex said that she finds that they save money because they're never throwing out food anymore. So they're using up all their fruit and veg, which is awesome. Kath said protein balls is a big saving for her. Bread, yogurt, and time. And now, Beck, you can't put a price on time, can you? Kath said yogurt. We've got some great answers on cost saving coming through here. Some that we're not cooking tonight and some that we are. So that's really great hearing what people are saying about their cost saving, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd have to agree with the time. I put a thing on my Instagram asking what people do to save with their Thermomix, and time is a big one for me. Being out here on the farm, I've got 2 young kids as well, so having hands-free time and extra time is really handy. All right, so now I'm just putting in the 400 grams of baker's flour. So baker's flour is different to just your normal plain flour. It's got a different gluten content, but you can just buy this in the supermarket. So I've bought it in a 5 kilogram bag, and you can get bigger bags. The larger size bags, the cheaper it'll be. 30 grams of olive oil. So again, just measure that in. And now some salt. So a teaspoon. I don't really measure that often. And now we're just going to pop that on, and we're just going to use the dough mode. So this function is just going to knead the dough, and then and so 2 minutes in the Thermomix is about the equivalent of doing it 20 minutes by hand. So I could stand here and knead the dough for 20 minutes, but that would be boring for you guys to watch, but it'd also be a waste of my time. It's really important too that when you are using the dough mode, just make sure that you stay within arm's reach of your Thermomix, because it is designed to move around with the dough. You don't want it to accidentally walk off the bench. It's about the only time you do have to be right with it.
But in saying that, we do have a beautiful new glider board coming to the mix shop as of today that will alleviate any of those issues. So the glider board locks your feet into place, and it weighs 2.6 kilos. So it really securely sits your Thermomix down on your bench. So if you do have a bench that it can bounce around on, I find one part of my bench is timber and it doesn't move, but on the other part of my bench that is Caesar stone, it can get a little bit walking, do a little bit of a walkabout when I'm kneading. So your glider board will protect your Thermomix from hopping itself around your bench. You can see Jess is wiggling there. And the wiggle means it's doing its job. We really want it to kind of rock and roll when it's kneading, but the glider board is the perfect accompaniment for that. So you can get them on the mix shop as of today, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait to get mine. I'm very excited. Also too, while that's going, a good tip when you're making this is in your garlic and rosemary to put the oil in now. So you'll use it, notice in the recipe later on, we use this, can drizzle oil over the top. But by actually mixing it in now, the oil will infuse with the flavors, and it'll just be a more intense flavor on your pizza. All right, so you can see there, that is the dough that we've made. I was just saying now to transfer it onto a silicone bread mat and divide it into halves. So I've got my bread mat here. Does everyone else have these? They're an amazing host reward that you can get if you invite a couple of friends along to a cooking experience like this tonight, or if you have one of your own. They are amazing. So you just see there's a little bit of dough stuck around the blades. Really quick and easy way to get that off. Just pop it back in, and we'll just go to one. Just go to turbo and just do. All right, and there you go. So that's just spun all that dough off the blades, so we don't waste that either. So now, as per the recipe, we would now leave the dough like that, wrap it up. I would normally wrap it up like this in my dough mat and let it prove. So I'll just quickly grab one I prepared earlier. I've made another dough. This was the dough I just made probably about 40 minutes ago. A good tip, I don't know if you guys know, is I've just got a bowl sit on top of my thermoserver, and I've got boiling water in my thermoserver. So that's been, our house is really cold and it is freezing today. So I'm sure it's freezing everywhere today. But to get dough to rise in the colder months, I just use it with a very little hot water. I'll just swap the dough over. Rise now. And I'll go on with this one. So this is one, I'm actually going to make this one into scrolls. I'm just going to roll it out. A little bit of flour. Bread mat. You don't normally need flour in your bread mat, but I often find when you're doing scrolls and it just makes it a little bit easier to roll them up. And I'm terrible at getting my dough into a nice even shape, but it still tastes good, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like, surely. All right. Now, I am going to, really quickly, I'm just going to show you another couple of things. So to make swap bowls over, instead of cleaning this one, yeah, I'm just going to grate some cheese. So I've just got this cheese here, and cut it into chunks. And I'll pop that in. I'm just going to, I just wanted to show you guys, has everyone got one of these when they've purchased their Thermomix? So it's really good as a really good cheat sheet. If you don't have one, reach out to your consultant, they can send you one. But it's just got instructions on here of what you can do manually really quickly. So I'm just going to do this for 5 seconds on speed 7. And there is some grated cheese. So that was really simple and so much cheaper than buying grated cheese. So I bought a kilo block of tasty cheese for $10, and that was about 300 grams. And then if you were buying a 600 gram bag of grated cheese, it's about $8 that I used to get. So it's a huge saving there. Also too, you're saving all the preservatives and all the caking agents that they put on it. So now I'm just going to cut up some bacon as well. Chop that up for our pizza scrolls. Just pop that in there. I'm not going to clean the bowl or anything because I've just done the cheese and I'm about to put both on the scrolls anyway. So let's do 3 seconds on speed 5. We'll see what that looks like. Yep, so that's chopped it up fairly well. As I said, I probably even went a bit hard on that, but we're just going to put in the scrolls anyway. So go and put some pizza sauce on here. I don't know if anyone's got one of these from the mix shop, but I bought it to do icing on cakes. And I've worked out that it's actually really good for spreading on scrolls, like all the toppings, whether it's a tomato or it's Vegemite, or even like a herb butter on scrolls. I found it really easy. So what I might do is I'm just going to actually do half pizza tonight and half cheese and Vegemite. So I'll put that on. Put on a little bit of our, sprinkle on some bacon. Is anyone making scrolls for lunches or anything at the moment? I find these really great to put in Kinder Lunch or even farmers' lunch boxes. You can have them hot or cold, and everyone seems to love them.
Yes, I just whipped up a bunch of cheese and bacon rolls earlier today for lunch boxes. We love scrolls, but we also love the cheese and bacon as something a bit different.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just got some salami as well. So I'm probably going a little bit overboard with my fillings here. But I have worked out that enough of the fillings for, like if I add in all the fillings, like so the bacon, the tomato, the salami, the cheese, and make one lot of, like a whole batch of pizza scrolls, it worked out to be about $9.80 to make a whole batch, including the dough and everything. So much cheaper when you think of going to a bakery and they're about $3 to $4 each. And I can get a whole batch for about $9.80. So let's leave that half there. Let's cut down the sides. So also remember when you're using your bread mat, your dough mat, is to never use a knife on it. It's actually got silicone in it. And you don't actually want to cut it, or else you will open up the fibers and it'll be a very sad day. You'll have to throw it out. So just roll these up here. Now the jury's out on how people roll up their scrolls. I just roll it up into one log, as you can see, hopefully there. And then I cut it into, using my dough cutter, dough scraper. I just cut it, and they get a little bit oddly shaped, but that's okay. You can cut them into strips and then roll them up individually, or you can use fishing line to cut them, or I've heard dental floss to cut them. So I'll just put this on here. Another cost saving I found too is these mix shop trays with the non-stick mats on them. They're amazing. You don't need to use baking paper anymore. And nothing sticks to them. They're perfect. these on. They're looking a little bit rustic, but that's okay. I'm sure no one will actually complain.
Means they're homemade, Jess.
That's right. They look very homemade, but that's how I cook. So all right. So that's one half there with the pizza toppings on it. And then I will do this other half with Vegemite and cheese. Do you want me to do that now, or
we might get you to do that off screen? Thank you
Yep.
so much, Jess. Love watching you make those scrolls and hearing about those cost savings. We'll talk some total cost savings at the end as well.
Yep.
But thank you, Jess. We'll pop back over to you later, and we're going to cut over to Nick.
Hi everyone, I'm Nick from Twin Mixing Mum on Instagram. I've been a Thermomix owner for 6 years and a consultant for almost 12 months. So I'm going to make for you today some yogurt and vanilla and honey toasted muesli. So I'm going to get straight into it. So I've already got it saved in my week. And we're going to start cooking. So preheat the oven to 150 degrees. And line 2 baking trays with baking paper and set aside. I've got the same trays as Jess that you'll see when I pour the muesli out onto. Okay, 1 cinnamon quill, so which I have here, chuck it in. And we're actually going to mill that just to make cinnamon powder first. So 1 minute at speed 9. They're going to be quite noisy and hard to hear me. So if anyone's got any questions, pop it in the chat box. Milling is great for doing your own herb and spice mix, garam masala, spices for meat. You could definitely skip this step and just use the powdered cinnamon as well.
I love that, Nick. And I love that, you know, such an important thing to remember is that it's guided cooking. It's not set in stone. So if you didn't hear Nick, she did just said, you know, you could skip this step if you wanted to and just use your powdered cinnamon. It's totally up to you. And, you know, it is guided cooking. It is not set in stone. So remember, you can make any changes to any recipe that suit you and your family.
Okay, it smells lovely in here now. That's cinnamon. Okay, so let's ground that up for me. Okay, so I'll just tear my scales and 100 grams of almonds. Now, the thing about this recipe, it is versatile. So we're putting in different fruits and nuts. So you would just substitute what you prefer. So this is asking for pecans or walnuts. I'm just going to use walnuts today because that's what I've got. So 80 grams of those. Oops, doesn't matter. It's a bit more. And we're going to put our lid back on. So what we're going to do now is just some very short turbo bursts at 1 second. Once. Again. That. Splitting your nuts up quite fine. Okay, 60 grams of dried apricots. Tearing my scales. I'm on a funny angle here. Oops. Take a couple out. I don't want to be over on everything. Lid on again. And 3 seconds at speed 6. Who makes their own muesli? Anyone? Pop it in the chat box. Okay, so rolled oats we're using. so 250 grams. And half a teaspoon of ground cardamom, which I did get out somewhere, I thought. No. This is quite strong, so certainly if you don't love cardamom, please leave it out. And pepitas, so 70 grams in of those. So quick and easy when you can just weigh as you go with something like this, where you've got lots of different seeds going in. 20 grams of sesame seeds. 20 grams of chia seeds. A mixture of black and white chia seeds here. I think the black ones on their own are a little bit cheaper. And raisins. It's 100 grams of raisins. I haven't got many here, so I'm just going to go in with what I've got left, which is about 37 grams. However, I have plenty of sultanas, so as I said before, just use what you like. That'll do for those. Now this is saying it's optional for dried blueberries. They're quite hard to find, so I'm just going to skip those at the moment and I'll substitute with something else. Dried cranberries. Now I love dried cranberries, so instead of the 60 grams, I'm going to go in with 100 to make up for the blueberries. 60 grams of shredded coconut. A little bit short on that, so I have got some coconut flakes that I will use. I like the consistency of the flakes, but you could just use some desiccated coconut as well. And some vanilla extract. So you can actually make vanilla extract on your own. I haven't personally, but I know you do a lot of baking. That is a huge cost saver. Does anyone make their own vanilla?
I've made the vanilla bean paste, and a couple of the other girls that live in Bunyip, we ordered some vanilla beans in bulk because they can be so expensive. And we split it between 4 of us, and that really drove down the cost of the vanilla beans, which was great. And then making a vanilla bean paste was crazy cheap, which was awesome.
That's so good, Chels. So 130 grams of honey now. Squeezing out that last bit. So generally, a muesli doesn't have a honey in it. So the difference with your muesli and a granola is a granola actually has a sweetness stirred through it, so maple syrup or honey, etc. So this is more of a granola than a muesli. 40 grams of grapeseed oil. So you'll laugh, this is actually a 2-litre grapeseed oil, and the reason I have it so huge is because I make my own mayonnaise, which is a great cost saver and lasts a long time. And obviously the bigger that you buy your ingredients in, the cheaper it is. And that goes for all of the fruit and nuts as well. Okay, now I think I actually missed early on the sunflower seeds. I jumped fast too quick, and that was 70 grams. So I'm just going to go back to something with my scales and add those as well. So this is going to actually produce about 1 kilo of muesli. It's got a little video here to watch. So we're actually just going to assist the stirring of this through the top with our spatula. So it's going to go for 2 minutes at 70 degrees and speed 2. We're just going to help that along. So this will melt the honey down. So just while I'm stirring here, I can do some costing. So as I mentioned, I've done the costing on a muesli, but this is actually more of a granola. And as you know, the more fancier granola you get with fruit and nuts in it, the more expensive it gets. So if you are just comparing this to a basic vanilla Carmen's muesli, this makes, so it's about $10.80 for a kilo, whereas your Carmen's for a kilo is about $14.65. So if you went through a kilo with your family for a week, just on your Carmen's, you'd be saving $240 a year. And even if it was only 500 grams, it's still $120 that you would save. Sunsol is another common brand for people that shop at the supermarket for your granola. That's actually, I think, $17.50 if you were to buy it in 1 kilo lots. Again, if you were to make your own with this recipe, you'd save $390 a year. So that's huge. And even if it was every fortnight, it's still a savings of $195, which is crazy. There is a couple of variations that you can do. As I said, you can obviously substitute your fruit and nuts as you go. You can do apple and cinnamon. So you can add extra cinnamon and dates and add apple juice instead of the honey. Or you could also do maple and orange, which you would use the zest of one orange only. And then instead of the honey, you would replace that with your maple syrup. So this is 18 seconds to go. Has anyone made this recipe before? Or a granola?
I love this recipe, Nick. This is a big hit in our house. We have also put some like rice puffs in it. Like, you know, you can get the little rice puffs, which are really nice in it as well for something a little bit different, but it's a great recipe. We absolutely love it.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So that's all mixed through now. That looks beautiful. So look at all that. So we're going to spread it evenly onto our baking trays, then in the oven for 10 minutes. Excuse me. Sometimes I'm a bit of a fuss pot. I prefer just nuts in my granola and to add fresh fruit.
Nick, while you're getting that in the oven, I might just jump over and get my chicken going, and then you can set up for the yogurt, and we'll come back to you in a minute.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. Hey, everyone. While Nick is doing that, I'm going to get some chicken on. So I really want to talk to you guys about lunch meat today. So lunch meat is so expensive, whether you're buying ham, chicken loaf, whatever it is. Massive cost in your grocery bill each week. So I want to show you how to really bring that down. So I'm going to steam some chicken. I'm going to make some fresh mayonnaise, and then we're going to shred our chicken with mayonnaise through it for like a sandwich meat, a salad meat, that kind of stuff. So we're going to start by switching over to our scales, and we want to go about 500 mils of water, 500 grams. So 500 grams is your general steaming amount. I'm using warm water just because it's going to be a little bit quicker, but you can use cold water, hot water, boiling water, whatever it is that you like. All right, we're going to swipe over and we're going to go to, I'm going to do 15 minutes. Now, I am doing this manually. It is going to depend on the size of your chicken. I'll show you mine in a moment. And then I'm going to go all the way around to my Varoma temperature. I'm just getting my chicken. But just so you guys remember, Varoma is an attachment, but it is also a temperature. So our varoma is our steaming attachment, but it's also our steaming temperature. So varoma in French means to steam with, to cook with aromas. So essentially you are steaming. So here we have our varoma dish, which I'm going to pop on the top. Now I've picked 15 minutes. I have cut my chicken breast. So I was very silly. I did a heap of this yesterday for our lunches this week and then realized I needed to do more in the class. So I am just doing a small amount today, but you can do up to like a kilo at a time, whatever's going to fit in your varoma. So I've got 15 minutes. I've got smallish pieces. I like to cut my breast into 3 generally. So I'm just going to pop that in here. You want them relatively the same size. You could put some salt and pepper on them. You could put some peri spice on them, some Moroccan seasoning, any of those fun things. 15 minutes varoma temp. Remember to put your lid on your varoma. I've done that too many times where after a while I realized my lid's not on. And then I'm going to go around to speed 3. So 15 minutes varoma temp on speed 3. 500 mils of water in my bowl and my chicken breast in here. Season it as you like. Let it cook. And then we're going to come back a little while later and make some mayonnaise and get that chicken shredded and show you how you can use that for lunch meat. And then I'll talk to you guys about the crazy cost saving this one is. This is going to blow your mind, but we'll talk about that afterwards. We'll head back over to Nick and she can get her yogurt going.
Okay, so we're going to start with our yogurt. So I am using the plain pot set yogurt recipe here. Who makes yogurt in their Thermomix? I was really excited to show you this recipe today because it's probably one of my favorite things to make and that I can cost save on for our family. It's 120 grams of natural yogurt going in here. Oh, it's a bit more, but that's not going to matter. 800 grams of full cream milk. If you are making yogurt, a lot of the first step is asking you to heat your milk up. If you just use room temperature long life milk, you can skip that step as well, so it's quick. In with 800 mils.
So using the long life milk is such a great thing to do because cutting out that warming step, it takes about 10 minutes to warm it normally. So if you are making it before you go to bed, being able to cut out that 10 minutes of waiting time is a big time saver.
Good point Chelsea raised there. Because the yogurt ferments for 10 hours, it is best to put it on before you go to bed. As you know, you can turn your Thermomix chime just to chime a few times when you wake up and it's finished, and it can actually sit on your bench until you get up and refrigerate it. So 40 grams of white sugar. I actually don't normally add sugar to my yogurt. I've got small children and they're just happy with the taste without it. I'm just going to put 20 grams in because I thought it's a good opportunity just to try it and see how it is with a bit of sugar. And now we'll put our lid on and mix. So 30 seconds on speed 4. So just jumping back, someone mentioned before about making the muesli. What can you replace the nuts with? I would just use extra seeds, so sunflower, pepitas. You can use more sesame seeds. You could use quinoa flakes, anything that gives you that little bit of crunch. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to put the yogurt in these pouches, and that's how we're going to cook the yogurt. You can also do it in your varoma, in one of the white varoma server as well. Okay, so this is the step now. It's actually going to ask us just to warm it up, but as I said, I've used the long life milk, so I'm not going to worry about that. And we're going to pour that out into our pouches. So who buys yogurt in pouches? For children or themselves, for work, anyone? So depending on what brand of yogurt pouch you purchase, if you're purchasing Chobani, just by making yourself a batch of these once a week, your savings can be as huge as $748 a year, or right down to the Woolworths brand pouches. That's still $540 a year. So it's a it's the best saving. So a lot of places actually stock these little pouches now. I think I've overfilled that one a little bit much. And for mums with little bubs, they often come with your little spoon as well if you're giving them to smaller children. Okay, well, not quite sealed. Knew that would happen while I'm live. Okay, so there's your pouch. I'm just going to pour the rest of those out into the pouches. Then I'll just give the Thermomix, the bowl, a quick wash, and in it will go with 250 grams of water and a little bit of lemon juice so it doesn't cause rust because it's fermenting, and I'll get that going.
Fabulous. Thank you, Nick. Kate's just asked, my kids are right into strawberry yogurt. Would you just make a strawberry coulis to mix through the yogurt?
Yes, I would. And some of the yogurt jars that I'll show you later, there is a recipe on there that you can actually do that as your first step. And if you're doing it in glass jars, you can put a bit of the strawberry coulis down the bottom. Or I'm assuming you could put just a little bit. If you put your yogurt in first, you could put just a little bit of the coulis on top, perhaps.
That would definitely work. Now, I have just popped a link in the chat for the pouches that I use. That link does look like spam. I'm sorry, it's definitely not. It's an eBay link. I use Cherub Baby, and there is a link for you to grab some if you are wanting to make some pouches and save yourself potentially up to $700 a year. Thank you, Nick. We'll check back in later, and we're going to go over to Vic, and she's going to introduce herself and show you a little bit of a takeaway dish.
Hi, everybody. My name's Victoria. I'm based in Gippsland, Victoria, and I've been a Thermomix consultant for about 8 months. Previously to that, I had the older model TM5 for about 6 years. I decided to upgrade by earning my Thermo. So tonight I am going to be making a chicken parma, which I feel is probably one of the most popular takeaway, or, you know, when we go out for dinner meals that people have. And it's quite cost effective to make it in your Thermo. So this one is actually from the recipe community. So I have uploaded it onto my machine. So it isn't on Cookie Do. And I simply go into my recipes, created recipes. And by doing this, you can adjust it as well. So if it's not to your liking, you can change things in it. So it still comes up and looks the same, quite similar to the Cookie Do recipes. If I press start cooking and arrow over. So it's asking me, my first step is to place some tasty cheese in a bowl, cut it into about 3 centimetre chunks. You can still measure it as well. I've already measured mine, 120. And then it says it wants you to grate that for 7 seconds on speed 7. So if I press the little blade icon and then turn it around for 7 seconds. So like just mentioned earlier, it's a lot cheaper to grate your own cheese, buying it in a big block, and you're also skipping the anti-caking agents and the preservatives. So that one has grated that in 7 seconds, and it wants me to pop it, place it in a bowl and set aside. So this is going to be our topping for our parma. I call it parma, some people call it palmy. Each to their own.
Oh, can we ask everyone in the chat? Pop it in the chat. Do you say parma or do you say palmy? I love this debate.
I feel like because it's like parmigiana, it's parma. But anyways, I guess it's the same as like thermo and thermi.
Yeah.
It does say
lots of parma comments, Vic.
Lots of parma.
Lots of parma.
Oh, good. I'm glad people agree with me. It says, do not wash your mixing bowl. So I love it when it says not to wash. Next, it wants you to pop some torn up bread. So if I click on the little weigh icon, it's saying that it wants 2 slices torn up. I've just grabbed the crust of our loaf of bread, It wants some Parmesan cheese in there too. So it's saying it wants 50 Parmesan. So it is weighing. So the same as your cookie dough recipes. And I actually like to pop a little bit of the garlic in now. So I'm just going to put like half a teaspoon because I like it in my crumbs. Otherwise you can pop it, like sprinkle it on once you pop your toppings on. So it's asking 10 seconds on speed 7. So already on there and then going to speed 7. I'd love to know if you pop in the chat if you make your own breadcrumbs to make your schnitzels and things like that. It is a lot cheaper than buying it. Tastes so much better too. Now it says to pop it in a plate. So I've just got like a dish. And it says do not wash your bowl afterwards. So that's our crumb ready to go. Arrowing over. Now it wants our chicken. So it's asked for 500 grams of chicken breast cut into big chunks, $4.94, that'll do. So it doesn't have to be exactly right. And now we're going to mix that. So for 10 seconds on speed 7, we're going to mince our own chicken.
I love this recipe, Vic, because all the elements you're doing are saving you money, you know. You said about your grated cheese, obviously making your own breadcrumbs, and then mincing your own chicken. 3 beautiful ways to save money with your Thermomix, all incorporated into your main meal.
And with the mincing as well, you know exactly what's going in it. Like when you buy those packets of mince and there's, you know, little fatty bits in there and that, like you don't actually know what they've mixed in there. So that's your chicken breast and you've made your own mince. And you can do that with any of your meat, any of your meats. So now it says shape the mince into 4 palmer size and roll out onto some eggs. I've just like some egg wash there. I'm going to pop some gloves on because I don't enjoy touching raw meat. It's just my little thing. So when I looked up the Parma on a few restaurants in my area, they were about 25, most of them about $25 to $26 for a Parma chips and salad. So I have cut up some potato as well to make up some chips, and we're going to air fry those, and then I'll jump into making a salad. But I worked out it was about $4.95 to make our own per serve. So that's, you know, just over $20 saving. And, you know, a lot of people go out for dinner maybe once a week, go to the pub once a week. So saving $20 in one meal, like if it was a whole family ordering it, that's a huge saving. So just for one person, I think it worked out to be, say like $20 once a week, $5.52, like that makes it over $1,000, $1,040. So just there, I've just popped it in the egg wash and then popped it in the crumb. Sorry, I don't know if you could see that. I'll do one more. So it's a massive saving, and you're skipping all the preservatives because a lot of the places that you go out for dinner, like I'm sure they're probably not making their schnitzels themselves.
And the good thing about mincing the chicken with this recipe is that your parma is going to be really moist. I know everyone hates that word, but they can be really dry if you just try to flatten out a breast and cook it. This gives you a much juicier finish, much nicer all-round flavour.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'll pop it on the tray there.
Another perk about the minced chicken is you can shape them to suit your family. So your Vic has kids, so she could do some adult-sized ones, some children-sized ones, which is really great too.
My kids don't usually like the sauce and cheese on there, so I just make them into like little nuggets. You can just top it. I've got some like chopped tomato, which I think if I go over, it does say top with tomato, garlic, which I won't pop any extra on there because I already popped it into the crumbs. Salt and pepper and ham if you want to. We don't normally pop the ham we just do tomato and cheese. So this recipe will make 4 serves as well. So pop the tomato, salt and pepper. So really you can put anything on there, like you can make a Hawaiian one if you want to put pineapple on there, or put your salami, your ham, whatever it is that you like.
I did just ask everyone what their favourite topping is for a parma in the chat box. We've got a Kilpatrick, salami and jalapeno. Keep the answers coming, guys. What's your favourite parma topping?
All right. I made 2. I've still got enough for another 2, and I'm going to pop that with some potatoes. I did use a peeler mode to peel those. Chelsea, do you want me to go pop them on now, or do you want me to go straight into the salad?
Yeah, no, stick them in. Do what you need to do, whatever.
All right, go chuck them on 2 secs.
We've had Hawaiian or a barbecue Texas parma, a bruschetta and goat's cheese. Now that sounds delicious. I love goat's cheese. I believe goat's cheese could go on everything. So that's brilliant. Love that. I did say in the chat box, this recipe can be imported from the recipe community over to your Cookie Dough using Cookie Dough 3.0, which is awesome. This recipe is actually one that I made. I did notice we were lacking a parma recipe anywhere, so I did develop this one. So it is in the chat box if you'd like to try it out and let us know what you think.
All right, so it does say on here to cook in the air fryer for 8 to 14 minutes, depending on the size, at 200 degrees, and serve with some chips and salad. So I've popped the parma in the air fryer with the potatoes, and then I'm going to jump onto making a salad. So I do have an extra bowl, so I'll just chuck that one on. Don't have to clean it. And I'll go back out, get into my created recipes again. So this is another one that I've uploaded on here. Start cooking. So I'd love to know, has anyone made salad in their Thermomix? I feel like a lot of people didn't realize that they can make a salad in there. All right, so it's asking to add half a cucumber. A lot of the recipes that I saw usually say to pop like the harder things down the bottom. Half a red onion. I'm going to pop some capsicum in there. So you can basically use whatever it is that you've got. And the thing with this is like you just adjust. So I'm only doing it for 2 seconds on speed 4, and I'll have a look at what it's like. And if I need a few more seconds, I'll go again. It's always less is more in the thermo. Yeah, no, I need to go again. It's done maybe half of what I wanted to do. It depends on how much you put in there as well, I guess. I didn't measure it. Yeah, I like it quite chunky. So if you wanted to go again, you could go again. To add spinach or rocket mixture into it, does say 120 grams, which is like one of these packets. See how that goes. It's going to be quite full. You can pop your spatula through the top if it needs some help to pop it, move it around. 1 avocado. So this is going to make it nice and creamy. But really, you could put whatever it is that you want in there. I'm going to pop a little bit of olive oil for our dressing. You could use some vinegar. I'm using white wine vinegar, you could use lemon, whatever your preference is. Some salt and pepper. And then go. So it's on 2 seconds. I actually might make it 4, I think. On reverse, on speed 4, and I'm going to pop my spatula up the top just to help it go through. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't want my spinach to be chopped up that much. And give it a little mix through. And I've just made a salad in there. Other salads I made is like the Asian chop salad, the broccoli salad. There's quinoa salads. There's a whole heap of variety on there as well. So that was really simple. So that will go with my parma and chips. That is it.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was just trying to get a jar. Amazing, Vic. Thank you. So you've done your parma chips and your salad in maybe, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So they are cooking away.
Yep.
Which is fabulous. So thank you. We'll check back in with you shortly and see the end result. So thanks for that. All right. So back over to me. So our chicken has cooked. And we're going to shred that in just a moment. But what I am going to make is I'm going to make some mayonnaise. So tell me, is anyone making mayonnaise in their Thermomix at the moment? I'm just going to go into my week and click on mayonnaise. Now, I've owned a Thermomix for 9 years, and I made mayonnaise for the first time 2 years ago, and I kicked myself that I waited so long. Always thought it was going to be really, really hard, so I was terrified. I just never did it, and now I don't look back. I make mayonnaise every week, 10 days kind of thing, because it is so easy and delicious and a great cost saver too. So place the jug onto the mixing bowl lid, and now I laughed before when Nick said, don't laugh at me for having the 2-litre grapeseed. I always have the 2-litre grapeseed. Again, the more you buy, the cheaper it is. But also, you know, mayonnaise, donuts, salads, wraps, that kind of stuff all use grapeseed oil. So it's awesome to have in the cupboard. It is a much lighter oil. When you're making mayonnaise, do not use olive oil, guys. It will taste horrible. You need to use grapeseed or safflower, something really, really light. So we've got 250 grams in our bowl there, and it's just saying set our jug aside. And then we are going to pop 1 egg at room temp into your mixing bowl. So I've cracked my egg out earlier. Make sure it got to room temp. It's really important to get it to room temp. And then it wants a teaspoon of lemon juice. I'm just using like the pre-packaged one, cheating a little bit there. 1 to 2 teaspoons of mustard to taste, which is optional. Now, we love mustard in our house, and I think it gives the mayo a really, really nice flavour. So don't be shy. I am using Dijon. You can use anything if you like, the hot English, if you like whole grain, whatever it is. There's no right or wrong answer. A little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt too. I don't believe in measuring. I'm going to throw it in kind of cool. Then we're going to pop our lid on. And we've got 1:30 on our timer, and we're going to go around to speed 4. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pour our grapeseed oil slowly around the lid of our Thermomix. Now, you've got little bumps under your measuring cup. It might be a bit tricky to see from where my camera is, but we've got some bubbles forming. So our oil is actually trickling through those little bumps down into our mixing bowl. Those blades are spinning, and we are emulsifying. So I don't know if anyone's ever made mayo pre-Thermomix. If you have, pop it in the chat. But mayonnaise is something that can split very easily and turn into just a big pile of oil. So the emulsify function on the thermo here means that it is not going to happen, that it is going to trickle down slowly and it's not going to split, which is great. Now, sometimes 1:30 is not enough, depending on if it's cold, your oil might take a little bit longer to get down. So you can just give your measuring cup just a really tiny wiggle to help move that down, or you can just add a few seconds extra to your timer. I'm just going to put the rest of that on there. So now we could flavour this. We could have chopped some garlic first for an aioli. I could have added some peri-peri seasoning for a peri-peri naise. Peri naise is one of those things that's a little bit more expensive at the shop as well. It's another great way to save money. I'm just using my spatula just to help push that last bit of oil down into my mixing bowl to emulsify. And that's it, guys. We've just made mayonnaise. Pop it in the chat and let me know if you thought it was going to be harder than that. Just going to get rid of that lid because it's got oil on it. But seriously, I just made about 320 grams of whole egg mayonnaise in 90 seconds. Now, I mean, I couldn't even personally drive to the shop in 90 seconds to buy mayonnaise. And a big cost saver there. So mayonnaise, sorry, I've just got it written down. We are looking at, so So $2.40 for about 320 grams of homemade mayo. 335 grams will cost you about $5 for a whole egg mayo in the shop. So that's a saving of $2.60, which over the year, if you're buying that every week, is going to be about $135 a year. So just in mayo, guys, we've just saved over $100 a year in something as simple as mayonnaise. So, you know, $2.30 might not sound like a lot, but like think about it. If you were at the shop and you were trying to decide which brand to buy, if one was on sale and it was $2 less, would you gravitate to that one automatically? No, I would. Plus, you saw that that had 4 ingredients, that mayo. That's it. Just 4 things. No additives, no preservatives, nothing, which is amazing. We've still got quite a bit of mayo in our bowl, which we are going to leave in there. We don't want to waste any of that. There is that jar of beautiful, look how thick it is. It says it lasts 3 days, but that'll last a couple of weeks in the fridge as long as it's cold in an airtight jar. I find it'll last a good week to 2 weeks quite easily. Awesome. So our chicken is cooked. That was steamed earlier. Now with your Varoma, use your lid to catch any drips so you're not creating a puddle on your bench. And we're going to pop our chicken in. As I said, I didn't do much chicken today purely because I did already make lunch meat this week, which was a bit silly of me. So we're going to put it in, and we're going to do this manually as well. So we've got that mayonnaise in there, and as Vic said, less is more. So when you're doing things like shredding and chopping and that, less is always more. I'm going to go 3 seconds. Really important to hit your reverse button. If you don't hit the reverse button here in the blades, you're going to mince it. Reverse is going to pull it. So I'm going to go around to speed 4.5 for 3 seconds. I'm going to take my lid off and I'm going to look at it, see how it is, and decide if it needs longer. I am pretty happy with that. So we have just shredded that chicken in that mayo. So instead of tipping that mayo down the sink that was left over in the bowl, which would be wasting money, we have shredded our chicken through our mayo and we have lunch meat. So that'll be perfect for sandwiches, salads, sides, whatever it is. You could leave the mayo out if you were more going for salads and just have your shredded chicken, pizza toppings, that kind of stuff. But cost breakdown for that. So if you're someone who's buying ham, so a kilo of chicken breast is $10, you're looking at about 40 cents worth of mayo in there. So if you're someone who's buying ham, you're looking at least $23 a kilo for ham. More if you're buying your ham off the bone, you're like $29 a kilo, $32. So 23 a kilo for ham, or if you're buying shaved chicken, like the chicken loaf stuff from the deli, looking at $25 a kilo. So $10.40 for your chicken and mayo versus 23 to 25 for your ham or your shaved chicken. So that's a saving of $14.60 a week if you're buying a kilo a week. That's $759 a year you have just saved from switching from ham or deli meats to chicken with a little bit of mayo in it or peri-naise, that kind of stuff. $759 a year we have just saved. Even if you were buying 500 grams a week, not a kilo, you're still looking at like $370 a year saving, which is crazy. So yeah, there is our lunch meat. I'm going to pop that in the fridge and use that for some more lunches this week. We have lots, but that's great. And think about all the money that I've saved. Plus, not just money, but health. Ham and chicken loaf are full of preservatives and additives. Your chicken and your mayo, homemade, no nasties at all, which is great. I have 2 thermos out because I was going to have my chicken cooking when I did my second dish, but I did get that on earlier. So I'm going to switch to my black anyway because I don't want her to feel left out. And I am going to go into my Anzac slice. So this is a really good one for anyone who's buying like muesli bars, slice bars, that kind of stuff, because we all know how expensive those ones are. So this Anzac slice is a huge hit in our house. I'm going to preheat the oven to 160. Kids absolutely love it, and so does my husband, and it freezes perfectly for lunches. So it wants me to grease and line a baking tray, a baking dish, and then set aside. We're going to go in with 180 grams of plain flour. I have prepared these earlier. 120 grams of rolled oats. 110 grams of brown sugar. 70 grams of coconut. So those oats and that coconut, quite a bit of goodness in there. A little bit of brown sugar, not a crazy amount. You can definitely lower it if you like though. And then we've got 10 seconds on speed 3, and we're using that reverse function again. because we don't want to mince up those oats. We just want to combine them. So remember, guys, the back side of your Thermomix blades are blunt and they are for stirring. The front side is sharp and they are for chopping. All right, so we're going to transfer that into a bowl and set aside. So we have just combined our dry ingredients there into a bowl. No need to wash your bowl. And then we're going to add 150 grams of butter like this, cut into pieces straight into our bowl. It can be straight out of the fridge. It can be soft. I'm going to go with 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. I do normally make homemade golden syrup. I have run out and I am using store-bought here because that was what I had in the cupboard today. Obviously, using homemade is going to reduce your cost again. And again, I don't believe in measuring, so I have just squirted that one in. So we've got 2 minutes on 60 degrees and around to speed 1. So we are going to melt our butter. While our butter is melting, I can tell you guys a little bit about the cost comparison with this one. So our Anzac slice, you're looking at $3.40 for the amount that this makes, which you'll see shortly. So I've got my very old looking tin. Please don't judge my tin here. So we're going to make a really nice slice that size in our tin. And that's going to cost us $3.40 for that much. So we're going to cut that into about 15 pieces. Thermomix do say 20 pieces, but I'm going to say 15 is more like the bars that you're going to purchase from the shops, the prepackaged ones. So let's say if we put it 15, that's 22 cents a slice. That's it. Mother Earth Odie baked slices in a 6-pack, a very similar thing to your Anzac slice, more nasties in it, but very similar. You're paying $3 for a 6-pack of those at the shops, which is 50 cents a bar. We're doing 22 cents a bar and our store-bought is 50 cents. So if you were to have 15 of those a week, you're looking at $7.50, which is $390 a year, or your homemade is going to be $176 a year. So that's a saving of $213 a year in something like an Anzac slice versus buying those prepackaged bars. Plus, you know, we talk lots about the additives, preservatives, sugar, that kind of stuff that's in the store-bought ones. Plus, not to mention your waste, so your packaging that you are producing. So, you know, we do try to reduce our amount of plastic in our house. We're definitely not perfect, but, you know, we make an effort, and I really like that I can send this in the kids' lunchbox and not have to think about them dropping that plastic on the ground or leaving it behind somewhere, or even just putting it in the waste bin to go into landfill. So money saving, so much better for your health and better for the environment as well. So it's just a win all around, I find. We've got 8 seconds left there. This is a really quick recipe as well. We're nearly done with this one. And we've got a couple more things to show you in the class and then we will be finished. So we have melted butter down. There's a little bit stuck to my blades there, but that's not a big deal at all. We're going to go in with half a teaspoon of bicarb soda and then 2 tablespoons of boiling water. So again, I believe in measuring, pour it in, lid on, mix it around, and then we've got 5 seconds on speed 3. I did say we could go on all night with this class because there are just so many ways to save money with your Thermomix. It's crazy. Now, I'm going to give you a yearly cost breakdown at the end and you are going to fall out of your seat. So if you can stick around for that, it's going to be worth it. So we're going to pop our flour and our oat mix back in. Lid on. And then we've got 5 seconds on speed 4 and using that reverse mode again. Now I could eat this one straight out of the thing. I always make less in my slice because I like to eat it. It tastes amazing. So that has just mixed that up for us. Going to scrape down the sides. It is a bit of a wet mixture, this one, because you've got that butter and the water in it. That's normal. And then lid on again. And just the same thing, 5 seconds on speed 4, reverse. Now this one says we're going to pop it in here into our prepared baking dish, and it's using the back of a spoon, press mixture evenly into the dish. Now I find using the back of a spoon can be tricky. You can use your spatula, but honestly guys, the easiest way is to just use your hands. So if you Still a little bit left in there, but I'm just going to leave that for now. Wet your hands. I've just got a bowl of water here. And just with a wet hand, press it out. This is the easiest way to do it. With your wet hands, it doesn't really stick to you and you get it nice and flat. I'm going to keep scraping that out and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. And it says 15 to 30 minutes. I like to bake it for about 17, I've found, on 160. And then it's a little bit soft in the middle and a little bit hard on the outside. And then once it dries, you can cut it into your portions and then into the freezer, into lunch boxes, whatever it is. Brilliant recipe. If you haven't made it, definitely try it. Your family will love you, or you will love yourself when you're eating lunches. We just have a couple of things left and then we will be done, but thank you for sticking around. We're going to jump over to Zoe, who's going to introduce herself and get cooking. Sorry,
Hi, everyone.
Go for it.
Hello. Can everyone hear me? I've been having a lot of issues with the internet at the moment.
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. So I'm going to be making some peanut butter. So I'm just going to start straight away. We'll get cooking. So the first ingredient is 200 grams of roasted peanuts. You can use salted or unsalted. I've got salted. This is a really good peanut butter recipe to put on toast as well. So that's kind of what I use this one for most. Then you just pop your measuring cup on and it's going to say turn to speed 4 for 8 seconds. So it is quite loud. So all that power has just turned all of our nuts, chopped them all up. So if you like it more smooth, which I do, I'm going to pop it on for a little bit longer. So it's, again, super powerful. So I'll probably just pop it on for another 5 seconds and it was speed 4. I'll show you that one. That's a bit better. And so something I'm noticing tonight, I think is going to be a staple in everyone's kitchen after tonight is rapeseed oil. So 30 to 50 of peanut oil or grapeseed oil. I've used grapeseed oil because it's what I've got. I think it also is just that little bit cheaper. That'll do. And that's blending it in. So it's saying to check your consistency to see how you like it. I like it smooth but with chunks, so that's pretty much how I've made it tonight. So I'm going to scoop that into a container. And then without washing my bowl, I'm going to make some custard. Oh, I wanted me to do it again. No, we're not going to do it again. That's how I like to make it. And then I'll go to my week and we're going to make some custard. So I've not cleaned my bowl so that none of that is going to waste and going down the sink. And I'm going to put the custard in there together. Oh, so I have to put so this is why it's handy to have a second bowl. So I have raw sugar, but it needs icing sugar. So it's cheaper for you to buy raw sugar. That's why this recipe is really good because it tells you. So we're going to make icing sugar from our raw sugar. My sugar's in. And then so it's going to mill the sugar into icing sugar. So milling. So now it wants me to scrape down the sides of the bowl, which I'll just quickly show you before. So I've gone from raw sugar to icing sugar. Delicious. Get all that icing sugar in. Don't want to waste any of it. Now we're going to add some corn flour, which is going to be our thickener.
Were you going to swap back to the peanut butter bowl, Zoe?
Oh, for the flour? Yep, I can. Yeah, that's next. Oh, yeah, I'll do that now so that way it doesn't do it when it's wet. So I'll do it when it's dry. Thank you. So go from my peanut butter, my corn flour. Making a big mess, but that's all right. Some vanilla extract. Where's the vanilla extract on?
You sound like me when I'm cooking, Zoe. I'm always losing something.
I've got too many things in my pantry. Vanilla extract. Might be in my car because I took it to someone's house the other day. Do you know where it is?
That's all right. I'm sure we can leave
we'll
it
just
out.
skip that. It'll still taste fine. It's got plenty of sugar in it. I got Pat trying to look for it now. Sorry.
We'll use our imagination.
Yeah. Oh, it's right there. Oh, it's going well. All right, 2 eggs. And our milk, that one I had prepared earlier. And I'm going to pop the one that's got the sugar on it, lid on. And now it's going to go, it's going to cook it. It says cooking. About 10 minutes. So if you wanted to come back, you can come back or whatever.
Fabulous. Thank you, Zoe. We will. So that is a great cost saving there. You know, she showed you how to mill sugar. So you're looking at about $8 a kilo for icing sugar versus $1 a kilo for raw sugar. So crazy money saving there. Fabulous. Thank you, Zoe. We are, that's done. We are done for our cooking. So we're just going to jump back through and show you how all of our dishes are looking and let you know about the final costing on all of our dishes as well. So we're going to jump back over to Jess and she can show us her scrolls and tell us about that money saving.
All right, so I'll just quickly show you as well. I've just rolled out the dough for the garlic pizza. So that is a large garlic pizza tray. I've just put the rosemary and garlic on top tonight, but that will make a perfect garlic bread you can have with another meal, and it literally has cost me $2 to make. So you wouldn't be able to buy it for that, and you definitely wouldn't be able to drive somewhere to get it for that now at the moment either. The squirrels are out of the oven, so here they are here. They're a bit oddly shaped because I don't make them perfect. So these are the pizza ones here. They're probably a little bit smaller than ones you would buy in a bakery, but they are bigger than the mini ones. So I've sort of gone in between. I've made them perfect size for lunch boxes here. And then these are the cheesy white scroll ones as well. So they're a little bit smaller just because the filling isn't as bulky. So I did some costing. I actually worked it out because they're a bit smaller. I worked it out on the mini ones you can buy from Baker's Delight. So at Baker's Delight, you can get the pizza mini scrolls. You can get 6 for $7.90. And I have made, and my amount, I've only made half of it tonight, but I've made the pricing for double because I've made 12 in total here. I would have been able to make one of mine here for 82 cents. So if you were going to buy 12 a week, that's a saving of $6. That's a saving, sorry, of $7.80 a week. And then that works out to be, for the pizza ones, like $405 a year. And then with the cheesy white scrolls, mine work out to be 33 cents each. And so again, that is, that's the one that's $405 a year if you're buying 12, and the pizza one is $312 a year if you're buying 12. So it's a massive cost saving, and especially for me, living out here on the farm as well, we don't have a bakery in town. So yeah, it's just cost saving all around, but a very cheap lunch really for the kids, which they love a lot more than a sandwich.
Amazing. Thank you so much for showing us that, Jess. Huge cost savings there. And we really appreciate seeing that. You can follow Jess on Instagram at Thermi Life on the Farm to check out what she makes in her thermo. Thank you so much for cooking tonight, Jess, and we will see you next time.
No worries.
We're going to jump back over to Nick and see how her yogurt and muesli is going. Sorry, I spot lit her and then she disappeared.
I'm here.
There you are.
Okay, so here is the finished muesli. So now I've looked at it, it's actually probably more of a farmer's market muesli. So the cost savings would be more if you can see the ingredients. The yogurt pouches are on. So remember, they had a huge savings between $540 and $750 a year, depending on what brand you buy. Here's the yogurt jars. So as I mentioned, you could use the pouch, you could use jars, you can put coulis in the bottom for flavoured yogurt. This is a pot set yogurt recipe. You can see it is nice and thick, and that's how I like my yogurt. Or again, you can put it in your Varoma server and ferment it in that for a large one. That's it.
Thank you. That looks amazing, Nick. Look at that muesli and that yogurt, and what a great way to save money. So that is fabulous. Thank you so much for cooking tonight. You can follow Nick at, I've forgotten your Instagram name, Twin
Mixing Mum.
Twin Mixing Mum. Sorry, Nick. Twin Mixing
Okay.
Mum on Instagram. Jump on and give her a follow. Thank you so much for tonight, Nick. And we're going to go back to Vic to check out our takeaway dish.
So it's all done. I'm not on yet. So we've got our parma, our chips, and our salad, which came to, I worked out, was $4.95. So a massive saving, seeing that, yeah, generally they're about $25 when you're going out for dinner. So it's a $20 saving, which is, yeah, massive, preservative-free, and super quick. I don't think that I would ever get a meal like that at a restaurant in 10 minutes. So, yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. How great is that? What a huge money saver there. And that looks insane. Vicky nailed that dish. So thank you for showing us that one. Thank you so much for cooking tonight as well. And you can follow Vic at the Everyday Thermo.
Yeah, that's right.
On Instagram. Thank you so much. All right. So I think that means I am up. We will, no. Yep. We are just waiting for Zoe's custard to be finished. Zoe, how long does your custard have to go? You just
Got
on mute.
6
though.
minutes to go.
Awesome. Perfect. That is fine. We've got a few things to talk about, and then we can check out the end of your custard. Yeah, I hope that you have learned a lot about how to save money with your Thermomix tonight. I would love if you could pop in our chat box and let us know which one of the dishes you loved really seeing, or which cost saving thing really blew your mind the most. And then I want to take you through our final cost saving. So our muesli is going to save you $269 a year. Our yogurt's going to save you $748 a year. Our icing sugar, $364. Your slice is $213. Your mayo is $135. Your chicken was a massive one alongside your yogurt with $759. Your scrolls are around that $400, but that's going to be much more if you're making a larger scroll as well. Peanut butter, you're looking at about $322 a year saving, and your Palmers, or your takeaway, your pub meal, or whatever it is, you're looking at about $4,160 a year saving there, which is crazy. So our total comes to, before our Palmers, just off your grocery items, came to about $4,700 a year saving if you were buying those things every week and you switched to making them. Obviously, not everyone's going to be buying those each week. You may only be buying those every now and then, maybe once a fortnight or once a month. So if you were buying those every week and switched to making, you'd save $171 a week, including shifting from that week out $100 meal to making that at home with something like your Palmers. If you were doing that fortnightly, you'd be saving about $4,446 a year. Or if you were only buying those items monthly, going out for dinner once a month, and you switch, you would be saving $2,223 a year. So even if you started doing those things, switching those things from bought to made just once a month in your shop, you would still be saving the cost of a brand new Thermomix every 12 months. So every 12 months, you could essentially treat yourself to a new Thermomix, and it would be costing you nothing because of the money that you have saved. So a week, you'd be saving $42 from these items that we said if you were doing the monthly price. So $42.75 a week would be your saving. So you can grab yourself a TM6 on interest-free finance for $24.59 a week. So you'd still be pocketing about $17 a week profit with a brand new Thermomix on your bench, which is just incredible. So if you are sitting on the fence and you're not sure, if you've got a friend that wants to save some money, this is honestly the way to do it. With the cost of living rising, a Thermomix is going to be your best friend in these uncertain times, which is really great. So if you don't have a Thermomix and you'd like some information, please let the girls know on Instagram, or reach out to your consultant if you already have one, because they would love to help you. And we are obviously here to answer any questions. You also have the opportunity to come along and earn a Thermomix, so you could be pocketing that full saving every week while you earn your Thermomix absolutely free, as we have done. You could see I had the black and the white on my bench, which were both earned, which is very cool. I've been lucky enough to earn 5 TM6s in the 3 years that I've been a consultant, which is pretty crazy. I'm just going to check on my slice. It has 1 minute to go, so I'm going to grab it out. I'm not going to cut it up because it does need to cool in the tin, but this is my beautiful Anzac slice. It is so yummy. I saw some great comments coming through about the slice in the chat box before, so that one is so great and a huge money saver there. Somebody mentioned Carmen's bars, so I used a different brand in my comparison, but Carmen's are even more expensive, so another great way to save even more money is for switching to that one. I will chop that up and pop some photos on my Instagram later, and the girls will also pop photos of their dishes on their Instagram. But if you do have any questions, please pop them in the chat. We would love to answer them, or reach out to the girls via their Instagram accounts. We will jump back to Zoe in just a sec, but I'll do my goodbye now and then we can go to her. So huge thank you to everybody who came along tonight. We love seeing you at our classes, and we hope you're feeling really inspired to try some new dishes and also to save lots of money off your grocery shop each week or fortnight, whatever it is. We will be back in a couple of weeks with our next class. We always love hearing what you guys would like to see, so feel free to shoot the girls a message or pop it in the chat box down. Let us know what kind of classes you would like to see. And again, we hope that you really learned something and are feeling inspired to try some new things tonight. We will go back over to Zoe and just check out our finished result for our custard. Now, that custard recipe does use the TM6 only thicken mode, which is great. So she did say it had an approximate time on it. So the really cool thing about the thicken mode is it sets an approximate time, and it actually cooks until it feels that it's at the perfect consistency. Once it gets to that perfect consistency, it will stop it, which is really, really cool. So how long you got there, Zoe?
It's got 1 minute to go.
1 minute to go.
I will just
Awesome.
add, I have tried some of the peanut butter and it is really good. And it doesn't have that like preservative taste that you get from all the peanut butters that you buy in the supermarket. It doesn't taste like, you know, it's got that fresh taste. So it's a healthier option as well as saving you money. So
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you. I love that. And I find some of the store-bought natural peanut butters can be really, really oily. So I love how the homemade one's not as oily, and you can always leave that oil out if you wanted to as well for a different option.
and you can make it as whatever. Oh, sorry, you can make it whatever consistency you like.
All right, this sounds like it's finished. So that's the custard.
How good does that look? Peanut butter custard. Yum.
It's actually the best. It's so good. Especially if you keep it a little bit chunky too. I'll leave a little bit left over for later. And if you give it a few minutes, it'll thicken up as well. So if you like it runny, you can have it hot and runny, or as it sort of sets. It's really good.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Zoe. That looks brilliant. Now, I would just like to say Zoe's only been a consultant for about a week now, and she
That's
put her
my
hand up to help at our no, there's no excuse needed. You were fabulous. But she popped her hand up to help at our class, which some of our consultants don't do after years of. We absolutely loved having Zoe cook tonight, and just a big shout out to her for putting herself out there. We had 60-something people on, so it's a big thing to cook in front of that many people when you haven't been doing this for long. So just a big round of applause to Zoe. Zoe, you're fabulous to watch, so thank you so much for cooking with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again.
I promise next time I'll be better.
Don't be silly, you were fabulous. So thank you, Zoe. And thank you again, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and we will see you all soon. If you do make any of our dishes, please make sure you tag us in your Instagram posts or send them through to us so we can see what you are making. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you all soon.